Hi. Fun fact, this mic is not on. It doesn't work. Well, it does work if I would charge it. This mic is actually just holding this little mic right here because this little mic right here's cord is too short. A little fun behind the scenes for you. Anyway, you were probably wondering where I've been. Interesting story. March of 2022, I came home from a walk with a friend and immediately started feeling like I was getting the flu or something and couldn't understand what was going on. I was breaking out in a full body rash. That was super crazy. I laid down on the couch and was just like, okay, I might just be coming down with something. Don't know what the rash is about, but whatever. Within 2 or 3 days, I was in full-blown misery. I was in a full body rash. I had eczema breakouts. I had excruciating nerve pain. This whole arm was just on fire 24/7. The only thing I could do to get some relief was like crunch it up like this and lay on it in a certain position, and that would get me some relief for a little while so I could sleep for a little bit. And then I'd have to move, and it was miserable. Joint pain, muscle pain, headaches, extreme fatigue. All of these just crazy symptoms. They were so bad that I wound up in urgent care. And the doctor there was like, everybody wants to blame it on long COVID, but yeah, maybe like you need to go see your doctor on Monday, see what's up. And so I did. And, at this point, there wasn't a lot of information around long COVID. I really didn't know what was going on. My doctor really didn't know what was going on, but he was like, there's this like experimental protocol that we could try for long COVID recovery and see if that helps. And so that's basically what I started to do. During this time, I had just created a big batch of YouTube content the week before. So my team was managing all of that. I was getting out of bed and pretending to be okay only when I had a one-on-one client call, which thankfully at that point I had just wrapped up a couple clients packages and I hadn't signed up anybody else. So I only had a few one-on-one clients at the time. And I was just like, okay, this is just what it is. Now, I've lived with health conditions for so long that it wasn't like this was super crazy for me, right? Like I had kind of built my business around the idea of like, I could get sick, I could need flexibility. And so my business was prepared for this. Like we had SOPs for this. I didn't expect it to last as long as it did. I just kept telling myself in the beginning, like it'll probably just be a few more weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks max. And then it was like, okay, I'm starting to get better, but I'm still struggling with some stuff, but it'll probably be fine in like another month or two. Let me tell you something. It has been 2.5 years. A lot of my symptoms are gone. A lot of the things I was struggling with in the beginning are gone. There are some things that came to the surface because of long COVID. Long COVID, I don't think caused them. When I look back at my health history, I know now that I had some misdiagnoses. I had some conditions that I didn't realize that I had that were just low grade, like the symptoms were mild enough that it didn't bother me. And then COVID took everything that I was dealing with, which if you don't know, I have another video on like how I run my business with 30 plus chronic illnesses, injuries, genetic disorders, all of this stuff. Like it's a lot that I've been dealing with for a long time. But some of it was kind of low grade and COVID just took everything and blew it up. And so I didn't have the energy to make content, barely had the energy for clients. My business had been built around flexibility, but not this much flexibility. And so as my energy started coming back and these protocols were starting to work, if you're curious, it's flccc.org or something like that. Those are the protocols we followed. I was on lots of medication. I was on a low histamine diet. I was learning to just slow down and rest 3 or 4 times a day and not overexert myself. I couldn't even walk up the stairs in my own house. Our mailbox is one of those community mailboxes, which is like 5-6 houses away. Nope. Didn't check the mail, couldn't go to the grocery store, couldn't stand in my kitchen, couldn't even sit up half the time to eat, especially in the first couple of months. As I started getting some energy back and some mental clarity back, which was in large part due to the massive amounts of antihistamines my doctor had me on. That enabled me to say, okay, I've got to make some changes to my business plan. And like, I know how to do this. It's not like I didn't, but I was actually kind of thankful that COVID happened because I was hanging on to an early stage business plan and kind of dragging my feet on some stuff that would have moved me forward sooner. I wish I had done it before I got sick. Would have been a lot smarter. But you know how these things go. Hindsight being 2020. And when you're a coach or a consultant, your head is so much in other people's businesses, right? The whole adage of like working on your business versus in your business. Like I was working on clients' businesses. I wasn't focused on mine. And COVID forced that focus to the forefront. So I went back to my business plan. I went back to my marketing plan, and I just made shifts to things. I was doing one-on-ones at that time. I stopped doing the one-on-ones for a little while. I shifted to a group coaching model with Breakthrough Boss. Well, no, I think actually Breakthrough Boss had been a group coaching model. I shifted that to a DIY option, and the group coaching was just happening in the community. That way I could do that from anywhere, right? I didn't have to be on at a certain time. Started creating some smaller products so that I could start pushing those out. And in terms of marketing, I just stepped back from content marketing. And I had a lot of people that were like, well, how are you going to market your business? And I'm like, content marketing is like one way to market your business, folks. So I just shifted. I shifted primarily to ads because that was something that if I was creating a video ad, I could create it on a good day and then outsource the rest of it. I would do some collaborations and like events and things like that when I could get to the place where I could manage my energy a little bit better and track it and know my patterns and be able to kind of conserve energy for those days. So that became part of my marketing plan, but a lot of it really centered around ads. I really, at that time, I was like, do I really want to get back into content? Content takes a lot of time. And one of the things that you'll often hear me say is like business owners are not influencers, and we treat content as though we are. Influencers and content creators are full time. That's at least a 20-hour-a-week job. Like that takes time and effort to create really good content. And as business owners, you've got the rest of your business to run. And so I'm sitting here thinking like, do I want to get back into content? Do I not want to? I really didn't. Like I just was like, I'm kind of enjoying this vibe. Like, let's just stay in my no content era. But what I started to find, especially over the past probably 9 to 12 months is, you know, even though as a business you may not need content, your audience may still have the expectation of it. And this does not apply to all businesses. I work with a lot of business owners right now that barely need a content plan. Like they need just enough so that when their clients go to look for them, they're finding them and it's somewhat recent content, right? So that they know like, hey, this person is in business. And then like if I'm working with a client, like I've got a yoga studio owner right now that we're working with. And I'm like, girl, you do not need to be trying to post on Instagram every single day. You could have 1-2 posts a week because of how your specific audience is using Instagram. They find you somewhere else and they come to Instagram to check you out. They want to know what the inside of the studio looks like. They want to get an idea of the classes. They want to know who your teachers are. Like you need to use Instagram for that part of your marketing funnel, not for the awareness part. And so like this doesn't apply to all businesses, but in my industry, as a coach, as a consultant, people expect me to have content. They expect me to be on everywhere all the time, even if I don't want to, even if I know I can build my business without it. There is extra friction on my path the further I get away from having recent content, and not just recent, but recent and consistent content. Like people expect it and it sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't like as small businesses that the trend we are seeing is more towards the need for an omnipresent content strategy. A lot of people have said we have needed to be on every platform for a long time, and we haven't. The last couple of years, we really have. And so as I've gotten further away from this content, I've started to get comments or emails that are like, are you still in business? And I'm like, yeah, it's just that you're going to talk to me through a Facebook group, which, Facebook's algorithm, like, it's not very active because nobody sees the posts, or you're going to talk to me through email. Like, I do a lot through newsletters and communicating back and forth when people reply to those newsletters. And I do a lot in terms of my communities and my clients and that sort of thing. But that's not enough. People expect me to be visible, and they expect my business to be on all these platforms. And I love you, but I don't want to be. So anyway, the beginning of this year, as my health was really starting to pick up, I lost so much muscle mass from being on bed rest and being so inactive for so long due to the PEM, which is post-exertional malaise. I don't remember if I mentioned that already, but basically, like, anytime I would try to do anything, I would get so fatigued that I would crash as though I was sick again. As that was starting to go away, I was starting to regain muscle. I was starting to be able to eat more. My energy was more consistent. A lot of my other symptoms that were really causing me to have to go slow were starting to go away at the beginning of this year. And so I was like, I'm good. Like, let's do it. Like, I'm ready. I'm excited. I love what I do. I want to get this out there. I want to be able to tell people a better way to do business. I want them to understand how to interpret trends like this, but how to interpret them through their lens so that they're not burning themselves out if they don't have to be. And I wanted to do it to the level that I knew I was able to do it. So I started off with a rebrand. Updating content, updating courses, updating branding, my new office. This is the same office that I had in videos that you'll probably see. Well, they were like 2.5 years ago, but it was like 5 videos ago. This is the same office, totally redone. My desk is behind my camera. You just can't see it right now. This was kind of like our studio set because initially I was like, I want to do interviews. I want to have people in, like, let's talk with them. Let's do all this different stuff. All of the new courses got recorded from this set, like all that kind of fun stuff. I don't know how much I'll actually use it in terms of like YouTube and Instagram and all of that going forward, but it's fun. Anyway, rebrand personally, if you can't tell, new hair, new makeup, new everything, having super so much fun with this. And then started to like re-examine, what do I want to do with content? Where do I want to be? Where do my clients expect me to be? What's going to be useful for the business? What's going to be strategic? What's going to be sustainable? Because again, I still have these health conditions. Oh, throughout this, let me tell you, I found out some interesting stuff. Like, for instance, I had a doctor that was like, have you ever just had like genetic testing done? And I was like, no, why would I do that? Because So we did some genetic testing and I found out that I have a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome due to tenascin X deficiency, which I am on a wait list for a specialist. So I don't know all of the ins and outs of it yet, but man, it connects so many dots. But it also has shown me like, okay, I really need to be very mindful about how I'm doing things moving forward, making sure that they're very sustainable for me, because this isn't just long COVID. This ties back to stuff that I've been dealing with since childhood that I didn't understand what they were. And now that I understand what it is, I know the trajectory going forward, and I have to be very, very mindful, putting my health first, which I always have, but like I have to be extra now. Anyway, all of this to say, as I went back into content and I started experimenting with different things, you've probably seen that over the past couple months. I think I started putting stuff back out, June, July, August, something like that. I did a couple long form videos. I did some shorts and reels and posts, and then I went through a major setback health-wise. Decided I was going to experiment with my diet, with a really extreme diet, because I had several friends who had gone through it. It's the carnivore diet. I know everybody just went, well, duh, you had setbacks. I've known so many people that have had amazing success with it that I was like, I'm going to give it a try. Like, we can do this. Except I didn't realize until recently that I had an underlying metabolic disorder because of all of the issues that I've had with food and food reactions and like intermittent fasting that I was trying to do for the autophagy and the healing, and just not having enough calories for too long, and then going into carnivore, not being able to get fat adapted, basically was starving myself, got really bad, set everything back, lost all my muscle that I had regained, shift in hormones, like developed a tremor. Like it was bad. It was bad, bad, bad. I still am not anti-carnivore because I've seen so many amazing success stories, but I am not cool with it for me. Obviously my body was like, nope, not today, Satan. So that set me back big time. At the same time that was happening, my dog died. I'm gonna try not to cry. This was months ago, but it still has like wrecked me because of some stuff that was happening and just a lot of emotions around it. Moving on from that topic, I had hired a marketing team a couple months ago that was helping me with all of this, the editing, the planning, the researching, the everything. And we had a big disagreement in terms of some pretty basic stuff like, KPIs, like what you're doing should be producing results. And because we had those disagreements, we split ways after. It was not good. I invested a lot of money and I did get some great stuff, but it just was not worth what I had invested with it. And so that had kind of put me into a tailspin, with my health in a tailspin, with my emotions in a tailspin. And then I was just like, so this was like October. And I've really just spent the last couple months like regrouping and really making some decisions in terms of where am I at? And what do I want? And how do I want to show up? And how do I want to use these tools and tools in terms of platforms, right? Use them for my business. And what do I really want to do? And I think that I have that figured out now. I mean, I know what I want to do. I don't 100% know how I'm going to do it yet. But my plan is I really want to come back into YouTube long form because I love this stuff. I really also want to be maximizing the use of shorts and reels and all of these other things with my ad strategy, with my publicity strategies. And it's really going to be up to these new doctors that I've partnered with that I really super love. One of them's on YouTube. His name is Dr. Dasari, if you're curious, Dasari. I'm very excited to see what happens in terms of health as I am finding a stable ground again and kind of recovering, but not just recovering. Like there's some things that we will be able to try in the coming months that might really get me back into a better place than I've ever been. We'll see. And that will really determine what I'm going to be able to do here. So here's my plan. I am trying right now to come back full time. I want to do a weekly video again. I want to get into, I love the shorts. I think they're super fun. Obviously, it's a lot of bandwidth. I'm getting into LinkedIn. Like I'm having fun with all of these things. I'm figuring out new systems and processes for them, which are going to be in a year and a day. A lot of them already are in a year and a day. All of that is the plan, and it will be based on my health. So my goal is to show up here as consistently as my body allows me to. And I have a lot of ways that I can make that happen. I work in batches, I do a lot of systems, I use the tools in a year and a day to simplify things and plan things and organize things. I have a team that can help me figure out, anything from editing to getting things posted and out there. And so it will just depend on how big of a batch I can do, because before I could do 3 months of content in I planned it all out with a year and a day, and then I could record it all in a day, 4 or 5 hours. So I was in a really good place then. I don't know if my nervous system is up to the par yet. I got to build myself back up. So I'm going to be doing bigger batches, and there may be gaps between those batches if when I go to record the next batch, I just can't that day. I'm just not having a good health day, because my energy will always be conserved for my clients first and my marketing second, which isn't usually what I tell clients. I will usually tell clients, you got to keep marketing regardless, even if you fall behind a little bit in client work, because that's what's going to keep you in business. The marketing you do today is the sales you have 1, 3, 6, 12 months from now. But when you are in a situation like mine, where we have basically another part-time job, our health is a part-time job, we have to shift it a little bit. And so, My business model is really designed around that flexibility 100% now. It's designed around the things that give me energy, which is clients. That's why I wanted to get back into clients, is because it is an energy giver for me. And so, that does come first because it kind of ties into my health a little bit. And then the rest of my energy is really around marketing and then offers, making sure that I'm keeping up with what you guys need in terms of training and teaching and all of that. And so right now I still have Breakthrough Boss, which is done as a course with support. I have the Inner Circle, which is a hybrid group and one-on-one program. I have a year and a day. I have several other courses out there around lead magnets, email marketing, basically things around stress-free, burnout-free, sustainable marketing, because I know marketing is the biggest source of burnout for every single business owner. I don't know a business owner that doesn't struggle with marketing. And maybe that's just because that's who I attract. I'm sure that there are some out there that just love marketing, or they have a team that they're outsourcing it to, but I know that's the big thing. And so my goal is to really continue to put out, I've got some new smaller offers coming in to help people in terms of figuring out what business to start or how to get started, just at first initial steps. But really a lot of that is going to be inside Breakthrough Boss. So yeah, that's where I've been. That's what's going on. It's still a little precarious. It's still like a fine line, and I'm still pacing myself, and I'm still kind of figuring some things out and putting some pieces into place around like how this fits in my circumstances. But I do feel a lot better. Very thankful to the multiple doctors I am working with now, and the ones that have connected the dots and figured out these conditions that nobody else could figure out that I was dealing with. And yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is I know I said this a few videos ago, but now I feel like I'm really back. But tentatively also, I'm back with potential vacations mixed in there. I don't know. Here's my commitment though. My commitment is I will continue doing the work that I love, that gives me energy, which is small business, especially tiny businesses and solopreneurs. So if that is you, I promise I will always be here to support you. You can email me, you can ask questions in the Facebook group, you can grab a course if you want more in-depth insight, you can ask comments below this video. I am here 100% to help you thrive, and that means I get to figure out ways to thrive, and I will share all of those ways as I figure them out, and I will also share everything else that I can possibly share, because this is one of the few things over the past few years that has kept me going. I love this work. I am honored to be able to do this work, and I'm so grateful to every single one of you that have hung in there while I have figured out how to do it in a more public way. So thank you for being here. Fist bump if you watched to the end of this video. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. How have the last few years been? And what kind of content would you love to see from me? Can you let me know that? Because I want to make sure that it hits the mark. All right, have a good one. You got this.